What's up, agents? Zer here, welcome back to the lab, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how you can use command blocks in order to create custom villager pathways. Now, before I go ahead and get started, this is all 100% vanilla. There's no add-ons or anything extra to download. So what version of Minecraft actually technically does not matter, although admittedly a lot of people always ask like what version of the game I'm on. I'm on 1.12 so that everyone has the option to go ahead and to use this. But yeah, so this is actually what I have set up right now in front of me, and I'll go ahead and explain what's going on in just a quick moment. But suffice to say, this is actually a really awesome mechanic. I didn't even know this was like legitimately a thing, at least in Bedrock Edition. I knew it was a thing in Java Edition because I have seen like people play maps using this kind of mechanic. I thought maybe there was like some sort of like special code that was injected, like maybe a data pack or something. But no, apparently it's actually command blocks. And I was actually, like I said, legitimately surprised this works inside of Bedrock Edition. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this in just a quick moment. Something I do want to briefly mention before I show this off is that upstairs inside the testing room and also inside the obsidian chamber, which is literally because there's a lot of room in there, I actually have two examples already set up, and I want to show you guys what the commands are before I show you guys what those actually look like in action. So here's what's going on for these actual command blocks themselves. As you can obviously tell, I have these stairs set up on top of these command blocks, and technically speaking, these stairs on top of these command blocks are not actually important. This is just so you guys can see exactly what blocks are being used while I'm explaining the commands themselves. And as you can obviously tell, each of these stairs are facing in one of 4 different directions. This is actually an important thing that you guys need to be aware about, and there's a reason behind that. So before I go ahead and show you guys what the commands are, keep in mind that there are like minor changes between each and every command itself. Other than that, the commands are pretty much exactly the same. So technically speaking, you could just copy and paste these into each individual command block and then just make the minor edits that are necessary. But yeah, this is actually what these actual commands look like, and I realize there's a lot of text in here, and I understand that much, but at least it works. That's the important part. So I'm gonna go ahead and run you guys through this command as best as I possibly can. If you guys get confused, then you can probably just pause the video right here and copy the command into whatever command block you are using, and I'll make sure to, at the very least, do the same for all the other commands themselves. I'm not going to explain the other commands in too much detail, but I will at least have them up long enough for you to copy and paste them if you guys want to pause. But yeah, so first off, we have the execute command. And real quick, if you're working in command blocks, you do not need that / in order to run them. So do keep this in mind. Then you have your target selector at E. This can be pretty much anything. If you want this to target players, that's perfectly fine. If you want to target pretty much every entity, you can do that as well. In my particular case, I am targeting specifically all villagers, which technically speaking, I have a lot of villagers inside of this map, only 2 as of right now. So in this particular case, you can change this to whatever mob you want. Maybe you want this to target zombies, then change the villager to zombie, or maybe you want this to be set to a specific name of mob. Then technically speaking, you would change this to name, and then instead of villager, you put in the name of whatever mob it is. I realize it's a lot to go through, but just figured I'd let you guys know about that just in case you guys want to change how this works. But obviously in my particular example, this is how I need it to be set up. So next up, you need to put in these 3 squiggly lines, which are technically called tildes, so do keep this in mind. Then you need to put down detect, and then you need to put down 3 more tildes. However, in this particular case, the second one, which is your Y value, you need to set up, well, maybe not specifically -2, which is what I'm using in my case, but this is detecting where the block is that the mob is actually over. And I do specifically recommend that your mob is above this, because then you can more easily hide the actual staircase blocks. So do keep that in mind. Also, I have the stone_stairs. This could pretty much be whatever stairs you want. So you can change this out for whatever you really want it to be. It really doesn't matter. And then this 0, this is actually the data value, and this is actually where these staircase rotations actually come into play. So do keep this in mind. So this stair right here is a data value of 0, 1, 2, 3. There are additional data values that you could technically use, but just for the purposes of this, we're just going to leave this here. And also, this does technically mean that if you have it set up this way, you can more easily see what direction your mobs are technically facing. But again, you can set it to higher data values if you really want. So after we set this to the stone stair 0, we have ourselves the teleport command. And this is what's causing the mobs to go ahead and move. And again, I have the @e_type equals villager. Again, like above, you can change this to something else if you want. However, you are required to have this c=1, and that means it's only going to target one mob, which is the important part, because if it targets more than one mob, well, then we're going to have a little bit of an issue where it's going to target mobs that are not on the pathway. So keep this in mind. So next up, we have ourselves 3 more tildes. In this particular case, we have a 0.1. This is the speed of which the mob actually moves along its pathway. I did find out that higher than this is actually pretty glitchy, all things considered. I was able to make it slightly faster by adding some numbers after the 1, but I figured just 0.1 would be actually legitimately safe. And then I have this -90 and this 0. These are technically optional. However, what these do is determine what direction the mob is actually going to be facing. The 0 means they're going to be looking straight forward, and this -90 just basically means they're going to be facing in the direction that they are walking. In this particular case, the direction of these stairs. And let me go ahead and quickly mention that the direction of these stairs, as far as these commands are concerned, is actually the direction the mob is going to be facing. So in the case of this stair, the mob is going to be walking in this direction. This stair, they're going to be walking this direction, and then this way, and then this way. You guys get the idea, I imagine. But yeah, so if I go ahead and take a look at this, as you can tell, the command does look slightly different. We do have a data value of 1 this time, and then the numbers at the very end of the command are obviously slightly different. So like I said, you can pretty much copy and paste these commands between command blocks and just make some minor changes, and you should be completely fine. It should work 100% correct, unless you like screw up the rest of the command, which is possible. Some people do sometimes do that. I do sometimes do that myself as well, because I make dumb mistakes. But yeah, so let's go ahead and take a look at this one. As you can tell, this one in particular, the actual 0.1 is on a completely different tilde at the very end, but it achieves the exact same result. And in this particular case, we have the exact same thing. And this one is actually a 180 this time for the second to last number. And then this one, again, if you guys didn't see, this one's a 0. And well, that's pretty much all there are to the actual commands themselves. It's literally that simple to go ahead and put together. I realize there's a lot of text per individual command, but once you have it figured out, it's not hard to do. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at our examples, and you're going to see exactly what's going on. And so yeah, this is exactly what's happening. He is moving around, well, technically speaking, in a circle, but obviously there aren't like exact circles inside of Minecraft, so take it how you will. But yeah, as you can tell, just walking along the path I have set for him, and I can go ahead and just like walk around in here. There's no barriers or anything. It's literally him walking around because of the command blocks. And you can easily tell that some of these stairs actually have the like rotation aspects, which this, as far as like Minecraft coding is concerned, does not matter. The villager still technically sees them as the direction that you have placed them down in. So do keep this in mind. If you see these stairs rotating, as long as you know what direction it's supposed to be facing, it doesn't matter if that ends up happening. So that's just a basic example of what you can do. However, I actually have a much more complex example set up inside of the obsidian chamber. And hopefully this guy is still technically going. I imagine he probably is. But yeah, let's go ahead and go in here. And yeah, here he is. We got a much more complex path this time that he's still technically following. But yeah, as you can obviously tell, he's following it without too much of an issue. But yeah, so obviously it doesn't really matter what the pathway is. If you set down correctly, he's going to follow it non-stop. And again, you can do this with pretty much any mob, or if you really want to, you could do this to players as well if you really want to, if you're really that necessarily mean, unless you have a like legitimate reason why you need to go ahead and do this inside of like a map or something. But yeah, other than that, this is actually where I'm gonna go ahead and end off this video. Again, I just thought this was like legitimately awesome, a really cool idea, and yeah, that's exactly why I wanted to go ahead and show this off. But yeah, this is where I'm ending things off. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you did, make sure that like button. Or more, make sure that subscribe button for future content. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at AgentCPU0 to stay updated. This has been Zer0's. Thank you guys for watching. And with that, I'll see you guys later.